Have you heard of the Beatitudes before? It's what we find in Matthew's Gospel in chapter 5, and it bleeds into chapter 6 as well. It's often called the Sermon on the Mount. Maybe you've heard it called that before. In that sermon, Jesus begins to share what we call the blessings. In the Common English Bible, it doesn't use the word blessed or blessings. It talks about happy. So let's take a little bit of a look at what's taking place in chapter 5, verse 4. Just that one verse. Happy are people who grieve, because they will be made glad. Now I like that this translation uses the word happy instead of blessed. We have completely ruined that word blessed, right? When we have something good happen in our lives, we say, we're blessed. When we win a race, we're blessed. Win a game, blessed. Get our paycheck, we're blessed. It's not that those things aren't necessarily true. We are blessed by God, but not because of good fortune or because of luck. We're blessed by God. We're made happy by God. But did you catch what's weird about this passage? Let's take another look at it. Happy are people who grieve. Yeah, it sounds a little weird, doesn't it? I've grieved, and I imagine you've grieved before too. Grief is not something that makes me feel happy. Outside of this translation, grief isn't even something that makes me feel blessed. Now, hindsight 2020, I can often look back and realize that in that grieving, God allowed me to grow and discover. But I wouldn't say that I'm blessed in that time. Could you imagine hearing this sermon and Jesus says, happy are those who are grieving? If you're out in that audience and you hear Jesus say that, your first thought might be, Jesus, have you ever grieved? Because it doesn't seem like you have. It's a reasonable response. Let's listen to the second part of this passage again. Because they will be made glad. They will be made glad. You see, I don't think Jesus is saying here that we're happy because we are grieving. I think Jesus is saying is that we are happy not because of our present circumstance, but because of what God is doing. We are blessed not because of our present circumstance, but because of what God is doing. We're not being blessed or we're not happy because we're grieving. We're happy and we're being blessed because God is making us glad. God is giving us reasons to be glad again. That's one thing I tell families and couples and individuals who are mourning all the time. This will change. You won't be in this fog forever. The grief you feel today will not last forever. It feels like it will. Absolutely, it feels like it will. But it won't. Gladness does come if we let it. Gladness does come. But so often we get so focused on our present circumstance that we can't see what God is doing. God invites us to look at the whole picture. Right now I may be grieving. Right now I may be hurting. Right now I may be experiencing loss. But that's just my present circumstance. It won't last forever. What God is doing is blessing me, is blessing you. And what will come, gladness, that is the blessing. That is the happiness. What we are experiencing right now is just that. It's right now. But joy comes with the morning. Amen.